So this is the start of a new vlog, but this is actually being recorded last in the sequence because I learned something that I want to pass on and have a request. And I hate making this request. I hate it when other content creators I watch make this request, but now I kind of see why. The request is, if you are liking these, or if you are even just sort of enjoying these, or if you're watching these at all, please subscribe to this channel. Now let me explain why. At the end of this vlog, I will explain that I'm trying to experiment with live streaming using this 360 camera. And there's a problem in that in order to live stream 360, I have to connect the camera to the phone. And in order to live stream on YouTube from your phone, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers. Now, I'm not expecting to get 1,000 subscribers anytime soon, I'll be honest. But I figure if I actually ask people to possibly consider subscribing, that I'm more likely to get there sometime, anytime. So as this video continues on, please consider subscribing. I know it's odd to subscribe to something that you may or may not watch or enjoy. I don't do it. I only subscribe to things that I actually want to see show up in my subscription feed. But even then, I skip a lot of my subscription feed as I'm going through, just because they're not every video that's put up do I want to watch. So yeah, that's the standard and apparently necessary plea, because YouTube is stupid, for somebody to please, if you're interested, subscribe to this channel so that I can do other things with it, because why is it based on subscriber count? I don't understand that, honestly. I guess because they only have so many servers up? I don't know. But now to your regularly scheduled, the rest of this vlog. Okay, perfect. It's a new week, and it's a strange new world that we're in. As the general manager of the Covey Center said when he was talking to us, it's not the same world it was even a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Everything has changed, probably permanently. Because yeah, we're closed. Well, not closed, but we've got no shows for the next 2 weeks, probably more. I don't know what the reaction is going to be from Provo City, because they own the Covey Center, if I hadn't pointed that out before now. And they're the ones who made it so, or who made the decision to close basically all city buildings. This isn't just the Covey Center, but the Parks and Recreation Center, just everything. Everything's closed for the next 2 weeks. But I just saw the headline, probably should have looked more into it, but last night I saw that the CDC recommended no gatherings of more than 50, which is half of what the previous recommendation had been, for the next 2 months. And that's huge. If that's what we're doing, that's a lot. That's gonna just absolutely kill us. And by us, I mean specifically me and my bank account. So I'm already late. This cough is annoying because I was paying attention all morning as I was getting ready, make sure that I felt okay enough to come in. So I've kind of had this cough off and on. And at home I'm fine, which leads me to believe it's more of an allergy thing. Just being outdoors in spring is what's giving me the cough, not any actual sickness. So hopefully I'm correct about that. But I'm also late this morning, so that's fun. So yeah, I gotta shut it down and get inside and get to work. We're only here for like 5 hours, so like 10 hours total this week. But that's 10 hours of paycheck that I wouldn't have otherwise. So, ta-da. So uneventful day, which means that I haven't got much to talk about. Well, not much to recap, I guess. We did maintenance and cleaning things. That's all we're going to be doing for probably the next 2 months. But
that's not really the point of this vlog, honestly, anymore. Like, when I first got the stuff to start filming, I thought maybe, yeah, it'll be me showing off how I work. And then that's not been what I've done at all. And it's not even anything I can do anymore because I'm not working anymore because nobody's doing events anymore. That's just the way of the world. But it does possibly lead to an interesting opportunity. Like, right now, I just don't have, right, there is, let me restart this thought 7 times before I maybe come to a point. Because live events with a live audience aren't happening, the people who have wanted to put on these shows and put on these events are trying to find new ways to do them because they still want to share their experiences, their joys, their whatever artistic endeavor it is with an audience. And one of the best ways to do that anymore is with streaming. And while I am well, actually, let's reset that. And I am actually kind of in a great place to understand how to help people with that. So I'm probably going to start hoarding myself out for that. Might even do that tonight if I'm thinking about it. Hop into the Utah theater people's Facebook group or something and be like, hey, if you are considering or wanting help to figure out how to stream your event, let me talk to you. Or let's talk together. Let's figure out how to do the thing. Because there's a lot of options, a lot of things to consider that not everybody will have considered. A lot of things not to consider. Like even today at home base there at the Covey, we were considering, maybe we offer streaming services for some of the Covey stuff, like that we had on the calendar that we still want to try and do, but obviously we can't have a huge audience around. Maybe we can set up a camera and stream it. What camera do we have? Well, we have this big awesome thing that looks amazing and professional. Yeah, well, it's only in 480. That's not going to cut it. We need something better than that. So what options do we have from there? And there are some. Our marketing person's got a pretty nice DSLR that we might be able to snag, or we're part of Provo City, which means we may have access to the Channel 17, which is the Provo City's cable channel. Might be able to get them involved in some capacity. But you've got to... But there are a lot more things to think about there than just where do I get a camera and put that on a person. That's not enough of a thing. You have to... There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of stuff that I've posted on my primary channel about. Here are things that nobody thinks about, that they probably should. Anyway, so that might be a thing that I do. I might see if anybody is interested in paying me, and then figure out exactly how much they need to pay me to consult for them on how to stream their event, and probably a different rate to actually be a tech for them. But that's going to call it here. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. And now that we've gotten the explanation for that out of the way, this is a beautiful day, and kind of felt like a shame to spend it indoors. So here I am out in the nature walking around. Although I'm not going over to the Covey today, I am going to go up and do some work for my client up in Salt Lake. Get some stuff ready for them, but they're canceled also for the next couple of months, so this is more along the lines of being prepared.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Oh, sorry. So yeah, just getting stuff prepared for the next next time we actually get to have a competition, which hopefully there's a few in April that haven't been canceled yet. Everything in March is canceled. And the one that we were going to travel, I think I mentioned that it was traveling down South St. George that I thought I might be able to make now with the cancellations of Covey. Well, that got moved to May, to a week that I'm also busy. So, unless the also busy thing gets canceled, which it's looking like it might. Still not sure on that one. Which that one, by the way, is RPG Limit Break, which is a fantastic speedrunning marathon. Which, please, for the love, if you haven't looked into speedrunning in video games and speedrunning marathons specifically, it's just such an interesting subculture. And because they happen to have one in Salt Lake, the RPG Limit Break is in Salt Lake. It's speedrunning, but a speedrunning RPGs, which are generally dozens of hours long, if not hundreds of hours long. And then the speed runs are still, I mean, there are some short ones, but there are also a speed run that's 10 hours. Anyway, that's not a tangent I meant to go on to, but I'm currently planning to be there in May. We'll see exactly what happens. If by May things have returned to something similar to the status quo, then my plan is to go up there, help set up, be there for a few days. Then I've got at least 2, maybe 3 days of work down here at the Covey Center in the middle, and then go back up there for the end and be there to help put it all away. We'll see if that works. Yeah, because this coronavirus is hitting everybody. I'm not even a brief tangent and aside. Apparently, YouTube is actively demonetizing creators for using the word coronavirus or COVID-19. I'm sorry, what? Like, I can almost see why they might do it, because it would be very simple to create a whole bunch of sensationalized content and throw it out there for a panicked populace to just rake in the money. And there are people who do that with every topic and every news item, basically. So I can see them being like, no, you may not monetize content talking about this, because we don't want anybody to abuse it. And possibly also the thought that you may not monetize items talking about this because we want this information to be freely available to everybody without them having to sit through ads or something. I don't know. But the problem is that also punishes the good voices, the strong voices, the correct voices who want to put out accurate information, can't talk about it without, losing their revenue stream, losing their income. And that's not okay. Hey there, Copper. So, I don't know. Google always does stupid things with AdSense and revenue with those things, so it's kind of ridiculous. I can't, I say as this video is up on YouTube right now, and I'm complaining about them, and I'm trying to pretend to almost be a creator / whatever. I'm not at all, though. I have created a lot of content that I've put out there, and some of it has gotten viewed, and a lot of it hasn't. Most of it hasn't. Nobody watches my shit. But just being part of the space, I am an avid watcher. This sounds bad, and it's kind of not been helped by the current stay indoors mentality, but I will regularly watch 8 to 10 hours of YouTube a day. So there's that. So I'm part of the community, even as an audience member, spectator, consumer side, even if I'm not on the creative side as much as I would like to be. I have gone off on so many tangents, which is good, honestly. I had no idea what I was going to talk about. I honestly came out here mostly to fill time because I was tired of being in the house. and have probably 15-20 minutes before I have to leave for work. Start heading up to Salt Lake, whatever. Pardon. But yeah, I got on a tangent from a tangent from a tangent. I was talking about YouTube and how I consider myself part of the YouTube community because that's where I consume pretty much all of my media and entertainment is on YouTube. I don't get off of that platform if I can avoid it. And I can't always. Twitch is a thing, but I still prefer YouTube in most cases. Even when they're doing dumb things to all the people who literally make their service worthwhile. I don't know. Well, this has been an interesting digression into a digression into a digression. But, what was I saying before I got on to the whole COVID thing? Oh, yeah, in May. We don't know yet how that one's going. I'm not part of the staff at RPG Limit Break, but I have been a volunteer up there and proved myself not indispensable, but very helpful in the past. And so I currently have a little bit more connection with and have a few other conversations with the staff than just a regular attendance member. That said, I also don't pay attention to like the Discord, which is where most of the conversations happen, but whatever. I'm just gonna keep walking until I run out of things to say. Yeah, it's been an interesting thing. I saw just today, actually, one of the creators I watch on YouTube. What's the name of his channel? Dr. Sick Note or something? Sick Notes? But a junior doctor in the UK, who I started following for different things. Mostly his doctor reacts to medical things in X media. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But he started because obviously this is the time to do it, and this is the time when people are looking for this kind of information. He's vlogging now his experience as a doctor in the UK during this pandemic, honestly. And it's been interesting, and the view from not America is so interesting because currently they're getting hit harder in Europe. He pulled up some information from Italy, which is one of the places being hit the hardest right now. And just the view of they are prepared differently, possibly better, probably better than the U.S. is right now. But they're currently on the front lines of it, and it's hitting them hard. It's hitting everybody hard. And honestly, kind of heart-wrenching to see. Like, this feels weird to say, but I'm not scared. Call it kind of just that millennial thing of none of us are scared to die. We know it's going to happen, so why bother? Possibly helped for me by the fact that until she passed last year, I had lived with my grandmother for the last 6 years of her life, and the entire time she was like, I am here, but I'm ready to go whenever. And so possibly some of that thought just kind of is incorporated into me as well. It's like, I'm not afraid to go whenever it happens. And I'm kind of worried that it'll be painful because I'm not good at pain, but if it is, yeah. But I am empathetic or at least sympathetic. I try to be empathetic, but at the very least I am sympathetic for the people who are and are having a very rough time and are very hurt and scared right now in other places of the world. And so seeing the view from this UK doctor who also talked about colleagues in Europe and specifically, like I said, specifically he read something from a doctor in Italy who's going through some of the hardest stuff right now. It's like that. This is difficult, which we'd known, but it really drove it home for me when I watched that personally. Yeah, even as much as it's annoying and it's inconvenient and it's actively disrupting my livelihood, the fact that it is also just, I mean, that's what a pandemic is constant disruptions to people's lives. And it's difficult and hard for everybody involved. So yeah, even as inconvenient as this is, especially for me right now, and my industry is one of the ones hit hardest right now by the everybody stay home, but I'm still in a pretty good position. I've got a roof over my head. I'm in one of the cities, honestly, in America with the fastest and best internet, so that's helpful. I've got people who I got access to a whole bunch of things to keep me entertained, even in a not necessarily quarantined yet, but in an isolated state, a social distance state. And I'm not personally sick. Well, no more than usual. I'm always sick, not important. And nobody I know is sick. There's only been one confirmed case nearby. So, I don't know. It's an interesting conundrum. And the world has changed. The world is different. So what the actual hell? It is March 18th, 2020. And I have recently gone through my first earthquake. What? So I like to describe myself as not paranoid, but aggressively pessimistic. And boy howdy, is there a lot of things just kind of converging all at making this year just terrible so far. I'm not panicked. You're panicked. No, I'm not actually panicked. As explained in my previous walking around this park for like 20 minutes or however long that was. If it happens, it happens, and hopefully it's not painful. But that was an experience, let me tell you. Yeah, I've lived here in Provo for like 6-ish years. But before that, every place else I'd been pretty geologically stable. So, never experienced an earthquake until today. And it took my brain just a little bit. Didn't help that I was trying to be asleep. Didn't get good sleep, but oh well. Even before the quake. But yeah, that was a thing. It's like, what has happened? Oh, is this this is an earthquake? Oh dear. And then I just stayed in bed because fuck it. But yeah, it's been a year, hasn't it? We're off to a great start to this decade. Like, memes aside, because there are plenty, it's still just been a rough start with threats of world wars, a giant pandemic taking over all the things, not the largest earthquake ever in Utah. I think probably the largest earthquake in northern Utah, because the largest was down in St. George, down in southern Utah. So I think this might be the largest ever earthquake in northern Utah, in recorded history, obviously. And it's just, everything's fun and exciting in 2020, let me tell ya. I apparently picked a good time to start vlogging, I guess, is what I'm saying. I got content, even if the content is just, hey, I walked through this park and talked about recent events. But, you know, the recent events are intriguing recent events. So there's that. Oy vey. Okay, so, first off, sitting talking to yourself or your camera on the stick is slightly more embarrassing when there are people you know around you. Not gonna lie. Fair warning, this is a 360 video, so if people pan around, they can see your faces.
No, I don't care.
But yeah, this is as much social distance as we're willing to get from each other, because boy howdy have we all gone stir crazy these last few days. So we're having food delivered back to my place, which means I'm walking through the park, which means I'm talking to myself in the camera. It's just a thing. But yeah, panic makes people weird. Like, on top of this whole, coronavirus, quarantine, keep your distance from each other thing, and then we get a friggin' earthquake this morning, and people just gone kind of nuts. But not insane, just like we're pretending like everything is normal, but obviously we're also worried. There's a lot of cars up there. I was expecting another. It's been after that. It's been an interesting experience. That's the first thing I thought of when I woke up. And seeing all even just, and I was gonna try to go to the store today. Don't remember how much I talked about this morning, but when I turned on the news after the shake to make sure that what I thought I felt was actually what I felt, and listening to them and on the radio, and realizing that it took me far too long to figure out how to turn on the freaking radio because I don't actually have a radio handy. It's a thing. But then the actual misinformation that they gave on air, that somebody had to call in and be like, no, please don't. Specifically like school districts and school closings. It's like, no, we're still getting out coursework to students. Obviously all the schools are closed anyway, but we're still getting coursework out to students. I'm not going to make them wait for me. So, yeah, it's been a thing.
It's kind of time, it's the end of the week, so kind of time for an end of the week roundup. But nothing happened this week, which I guess is kind of going to be the going forward during this time of social distancing / quarantine / whatever it is, because I've got some work. This last week I worked 10 hours. Ignore the stream in the background. We'll just pop that to the main menu here, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Worked, 10 hours at the Covey Center, 2 hours up in Salt Lake. This coming week, we're trying to look closer to about 20 hours at the Covey, which will be good. If I'm feeling well. Currently, I feel fine. I sometimes have a cough, but not more than anything usual, honestly. Feels more like an allergy than anything else. I don't feel feverish or like I have the flu, so. What was my point? Oh, yeah. But besides that, I'm just kind of at home doing things, finding times and ways and places to... I don't know what that means. I'll talk about that later. Finding ways to fill my time, which is kind of... I have a weird arrangement of things around me right now because I'm going to try something. And I'm explaining my thought process now to the camera. And we'll see if it actually works. This camera specifically, the app, if I actually pull it up here, I might be able to show you, has a live stream mode that I don't... Okay, so I have to be connected first. But yeah, it has a live 360. And to start live streaming, please connect the camera to your mobile phone via the cable first. So I'm going to do that. But I'm interested in trying that out and seeing whether the live is only in the app and is trying to turn their app into some weird social network, or if I can take that video and stream it on any platform. So we'll find out. But as I play around with that and figure out what I'm doing for the rest of the week, that's going to be the end of this vlog. So I want to thank anybody who's been watching. Hope this has been slightly interesting. I'm going to try and get more next week at the Covey Center. It's mostly work days. It's kind of boring stuff, but that kind of means that I'm more free to do video of it because there's less, people, less of a show happening and copyright and stuff like that. It's just going to be me doing whatever the work is. So hopefully we can get some of that next week.